Jim Norton is not a doctor. He's not an expert. He's not even a good person. The views, opinions, advice, and humor of Jim Norton does not reflect those of any doctor, of SiriusXM, of Opie Radio, or anyone else. They are solely those of Jim Norton, Lyle Chipperson, Edgar Mellencamp, Paul Hargis, and whoever else lives in that chinless head of his. If any of this advice goes wrong, you are the asshole who called a comedian instead of a doctor.
An icon in comedy, a fighter for freedoms, an accomplished entertainer, and a pervert. You've got problems, he's got problems. You've got questions, he's got answers, some of which are good. Call now, 866-WOW-1-WOW. That's 866-969-1969. This is the Jim Norton Show.
Hello. Thank you for tuning in to the Jim Norton Show. I appreciate it very much. Hope my volume is okay. I always have one headphone off, like Voss, so I can never tell if I'm really being heard or not. But so far, a good week. I am hopping on a train immediately after this and going to D.C. I have no gig. I will have a gig announced there very soon. We've been holding off on something, and that's why. There's a reason I haven't booked one there yet. I didn't forget Washington. I'm doing the James Carville roast tomorrow night, and it's for charity at the Kennedy Center. And then I go down to Orlando and Atlanta. So I feel really good. It's amazing how fast my mood changes. So I don't know if that's a sign of manic depression or just being an asshole. But I literally was having problems with my windows recently, as all of you have had to bear me babbling about. And this is how nuts I am. I'm the other day the window was particularly bad and this breeze is coming through. Really harsh. Like literally it would have fucking blown your wig off. And I'm thinking the only answer is to throw myself off the roof. It's like I get these stupid overwhelming feelings. Like it's not going to get better and I can't fix it. I don't know how to just be annoyed and then let it go. I'm really, really bad at that. But I did not throw myself off the window. And the next day the super made the window vastly improved. And, I just don't know how to react. I was talking to my friend and she's telling me, like, what are you doing? Like, you just, she's kind of pointing out what an idiot I was being. But I really, in that space, it's hard to control. It's really hard to not let yourself spiral and get into a really bad space. So anyway, I started the UFC podcast with Matt Serra on Monday. They air every Tuesday and Thursday. We tape the day before. It's less than 24 hours. They probably are released about 13 or 14 hours after we tape them. It's a pretty fast turnaround for a podcast. And, because I tape some podcasts, they're like, it's a week from Thursday, the 5th. And our first episode, Dana White called in. And the response has been overwhelmingly good. I'm sure some people didn't like it, but it was nice to get a positive feedback on it. And it's a work in progress. We taped the second one today. I felt really good about it. A couple of really good guests. And it's good my manager is calling me now. Jonathan, it's funny, Jonathan is calling me now on my cell phone. It's like, John, I do this show. What's he doing? So hopefully that podcast will stick around for a while because it did very well in the charts and people had really, really good things to say. So I'm very, very psyched. Calvin in San Jose, what's up?
Hey, Jim, how's it going?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, so first of all, congratulations on losing all that weight. What do they call you, Slim Jim or something? Yeah.
Fuck yeah, that's clever.
Yeah, home run, Chip. Sorry. Okay, so I heard you talking about the thing with your windows. My advice on that, real quick, if I could, when you're sitting in a car and you open just one window, you feel fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's because there's air in the car that's preventing the outside air from flowing in. Maybe try to just open one window in your place and see if it kind of, gives you fresh air but blocks. Anyway, so what I was calling about is I'm a comic out here in the Bay Area, in the South Bay, just under San Francisco here, and I've gone to all the open mics. I've performed at the San Jose Improv twice. I've performed at Rooster T. Feathers like 9 times. Twice was a competition. And I'm getting to a point now, just based on the crowd response, that I'm too good for like going to open mics. So I was wondering, what's the next step? Because obviously I'm not going to fill Madison Square Garden. I'm not going to go and do like a 2,000 seat room like Doug Benson or Doug Stanhope or
other
you,
people named Doug. No, I understand.
Yeah.
So you're saying, what's the line between going out and doing a big theaters and you don't want to do open mics anymore? How do you start making a little bit of money? Do you have any first of all, do you drive a car?
Yes, I have a truck that I've paid for. Yeah.
Now, do you have any relationships with working comics? Do you have a tape of yourself? Do you have a tape of yourself on YouTube or something? Do you have any video of you on YouTube?
Nothing that's professional, no.
Well, you got to get tape made of yourself because you have no TV stuff to give people. So if you want bookers to look at you and go, "Hey, man, this guy's pretty good," or how are they going to know you're any good? You can't just call and tell them. So what you ought to do is get some stuff of yourself and put it on YouTube, and this way you can just send them a link and they can check you out and maybe book you. It's different than when I started. That's one way to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you, buddy. Good luck, man. Don't stop doing it. Okay. Hey, Brian and Charlotte, what's up?
Hey, Jimmy. More of a question then about you and how you've been responding on the show recently to Gilbert being on. The sense that I get, you can totally tell me if I'm wrong, but the sense that I get is that his inability to move away from the Jimmy Durante voice is almost driving. As me, as a longtime fan of the show, it's almost single-handedly like driving me away. I can't listen to it anymore. And I know that you being the subject of it, obviously being a comedian, I know you have pretty big shoulders and you can laugh it off. But has it gotten to the point where even you're kind of tired of hearing it now? You know,
it's funny. It's one of those things where that's what Gilbert's kind of a weird, almost, and I joke about autism, but it's almost that type of mentality with humor, where a lot of times that's part of what makes him so funny. Is that he can just wind up and throw the same right hook over and over. And then you get to a point where you're like, all right, already, you've thrown that right hook. But then it goes into a point where he's still throwing the right hook and it becomes enjoyable again. So no, I don't mind it. I don't care. I mean, I like Gilbert, so he always makes me laugh. I think he's really silly. And he's a goofball. I mean, like when he's doing that Jimmy Durante thing or whatever, I like chiming in and being ridiculous on the other end of it. So I like fucking around with it. So no, I don't care if he does. He can do that all day if he wants.
Well, it's good.
Any repetitive, what's that?
It seems like almost like a fodder, like for you to be, to kind of have a counteract. But I almost sense like when she starts to go into that voice, you're like, hey, what's the title of that song you're singing again? Like you're almost spurring him on so that you can have almost, an equally funny reaction to his. Well, yeah, so I can have fun with it. Yeah, there's a way to when something is happening like that, and that's how Gilbert performs. You just enjoy it with him and participate in a way that makes sense. Because the last thing I want to do is cock block somebody being funny. I just won't do it. And I don't want him to be or any comedian to come on and be uncomfortable, like, oh, I can't do my thing because these guys start judging it after a while. So as a comic, if I can't riff with Gilbert Godfrey and have fun with him, then I should be out of the business because he's a guy you can make fun of anything with, and he's okay with it. You could talk about rape or murder or suicide. There's nothing you can't joke about with Gilbert Godfrey. You can mock him. You can make fun of his awful, whatever you want, he's okay with. So, to answer your question, no, I don't mind it at all. I just, you find a way to jump in and have a good time with it. Awesome. I appreciate the answer, Jimmy. Thank you for your time.
All right, buddy. Bryce in Dallas. Hello.
Hey, Jim, big fan of the UFC show with Matt Serra, man. It's great.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, we only did number 1 so far, but hopefully number 2 will be just as good.
Well, big question. Do you think you'll do Matt or Kirk Cinnamon and Chip Chipperson with Matt, or is that a OB thing only?
No, of course. People are going to demand that I will do Chip. People are going to demand. I'm going to have to do it. There's no choice. People will demand that I do Chip all the time. Dana White is going to demand it. The fans will demand it. I told Dana White, I'm going to be doing some karate. And he was like, oh, Chip. No, I don't know how much Chip I'll do on that show.
Yeah, I don't think Matt would get it very much. It'd be funny to throw it in every now and then, but I don't know. I was trying to think if you would.
Oh, Matt's a fan of the show. Matt wouldn't care. Matt, all I have to do is explain Chip, and Matt would probably just go, fucking Chip, And Matt's very funny. We did a couple of interviews today on the phone, and Matt was really enjoyable today. I enjoy Matt Serra very much.
When's the next episode coming up?
Tomorrow. We taped it today. It comes out tomorrow morning early. Like I was saying at the beginning of the show, it's a very, very fast turnaround. And, man, Dana White's a pretty good fucking booker, too. He got us Dana White, and then he gets us a couple of good guys today, and he's working on some good guys for next week. So, man, Dana's really helping us out.
Can you say who it is?
I don't know if I can. It's not a big secret, but I just don't know. So I actually just sent him a text. So when I hear back, if he's cool with it, or he may want to have it be a surprise, I just don't know.
Okay, well, I'll be tuning in. Thanks, man.
All right, Bryce. Thanks, pal. Let's see here. Fontaine in Virginia. Is this the Fontaine I know?
Hey, James Joseph. How are you?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, for the guy in the Bay Area, may I speak to that?
What's that?
The guy that called from the Bay Area, the comic that wants to punch himself up a little bit, he's just got to go out and network with some middle acts. Like, obviously, you're not going to go from open micing to headlining. So,
right.
Form your own network and hang out with those people that are in the middle, or feature acts, as they're called. And I think he's probably on the right track.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. That sounds like very smart advice. Just kind of go out there. But you got to get some tape of yourself, too, just so people can see what it is you do.
Hey, Jim. I know a lot of the questions on here you'll say that you don't know, and fair enough. I really, really want your advice, though, because you're my friend and I care what you think. I don't want to go to any more funerals. I shit you not. And my parents are alive, and I'm not sure how to open that subject with the family.
Well, how old are you?
Same as you, buddy.
Okay, so you're 47. So you could say to them, look, I don't want to go to any more funerals. I'm not saying what you're saying is right or wrong, but one of the reasons is they're very sad, they're very depressing. But part of going to funerals, dude, it's like visiting someone in the hospital. We're not necessarily doing it for ourselves. We're doing it to help the people who are sick or who are grieving. So I'm not saying you should go, but you might want to at least think about it. Like, part of you being there is to be very supportive of people who really need you at the moment. So, sometimes maybe you can go and make a very quick appearance. And if you genuinely say, no, I've thought of that and I don't want to do it, well, then I guess all you can do is be honest with them and say you don't want to go to funerals. That's it.
Fair enough, buddy. Continued success, my boy.
All right. Thank you very much. That was a line from Righteous Kill. Continued success. It's the worst line ever. Pacino said that as he's laying on the floor with his little lifts, and he's dying, and he says it to De Niro. Continued success. Oof. Let's see here. James in Iowa. Well phrased. Hey, James.
Hey, Jimmy, how are you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Good, man. So here's the situation. I'm dating a girl. I'm 35, she's 37. She's got a 7-year-old son. I don't know how to say this. He's a world-class asshole.
Okay.
Dad's not in the picture. Dad has never been in the picture. Things between her and I are really good. But, disrespectful. And they, of course, they're diagnosing ADHD and the rest of that shit. But what it comes down to is he doesn't get his way. He's learned how to manipulate her. And now that we've kind of moved in together, I'm put in this position of, I'm a teacher and things like that. I don't put up with disrespect really well. So I see this kid just being a dick to his mom every day, and I see the toll that it's taking on her, starting to take it on us. And
does it have anything to do with the fact that his dad's not around, that you're the guy there now? Do you think the kid resents you and hates it?
I'm sure that's probably part of it. I mean, it has to be. The kid's 7, and the last time his dad saw him in person he was 1.5, so he doesn't remember that. Daddy rolls in Dad rolls in once a month on Skype. Hasn't sent child support in 5 years.
Well, I guess for him that's pretty hard. Like, even if he's being a little prick, for him that's got to be really hard and really frustrating that his dad's not around. Then all of a sudden there's just some guy there, and it's you.
Well, and I get that, and I don't have kids, and, being a teacher, I understand kids and education and how that part works, so I've tried to do things with him, and, I'm a sports guy, try to get him into baseball. I mean, the kid, is into video games, and that's it. He wants to play Minecraft and nothing else in the world.
How long are you dating the girl?
About 1.5 years now.
Okay, well, maybe he'll grow out of it. I mean, again, I don't know what it's like to not have a dad, but I guess that fucks with you a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not easy. So I would give him a break.
Yeah, no, and I do. It's just, I guess my question is there a point that obviously I'm not trying to be the kid's dad. That's not my goal. But is there a point when he's just out of control and, just letting his mom have it, which he does at times, do I not say anything? Do I just sit there?
Yeah, it's not your business between them. Not your business.
Okay. Yeah, okay. All right, well, cool. That's just want to throw out there. Best of luck, buddy. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, buddy. Thank you for the call. Let's see here. Good question. Daniel in Florida, how are you?
Jim, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. I really like your shit, man, especially when you juice it up on Red Eye.
Thank you.
But I got a question for you. If you had Donald Trump's ear, what would you tell him?
I'd probably give it back to him so he could hear. I'd probably be like, yo, your glasses are going to fall off. I'd be like, yo, how come all your iPod buds are hanging out? I'd be like, yo, the other ear stuff. Fuck.
Are you fucking with me, man, or what? I got an advice question.
No, I'm just chipping you, babe. Go ahead. What's up?
Okay. So listen, man, if you did have Donald Trump's ear, what would you tell him about drug prohibition?
You know, I don't agree with, I agree with certain drugs being illegal and certain drugs not. I mean, you know, I don't think it's just Donald Trump. There's a lot of people that feel that way. I think that pot should be legal. And the only reason I want pot illegal is I'm selfish and I'm not allowed to smoke it, and the temptation scares me. However, I think society has the right to smoke pot for free. I mean, it's not for free, for legally, sorry. As far as cocaine and other drugs, I think they should stay illegal. Only
Why?
Because I'll tell you why. Because the reactions you get from them can be really violent and really awful, and they are extremely addictive. And there's a point like, well, look at alcohol. Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of proof. Look at all the people who die every year on the roads because of booze. So I don't come from a morals point of view with cocaine or heroin. I just think that as a society, I would prefer to not have those things available to everybody. And I understand the whole drug cartel angle and the violent crime. I'm not moralizing. That's just particularly why I would like those drugs to stay illegal. But pot, I have no issue with being legalized.
Well, let me ask you this one. Back when we could buy heroin and cocaine and morphine from the Sears Roebuck catalog and corner grocery stores and druggists, we didn't have any real problem. So
sure.
Why do you think that there would, legalizing these drugs would create a problem that didn't exist when they were legal and readily available?
Because I think that our society is a lot different now than it was back then. I think there's a lot more, we're a lot more violent than we are back then. And drug addiction was not a known problem back then. It wasn't something that was a tremendous issue back then. And I don't know why. I don't have a great answer as to why it wasn't then. But I think the problem we see with addicts, and overdosing and dying, that has nothing to do with legal or illegal. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like booze. People who get cirrhosis of the liver and again, drunk drive or beat their wives. It's a legal product. So the legalizing it isn't going to stop what it is I object to it, which is the destruction it causes.
Well, I know you alluded to the drug cartels and the violence, but don't you think that is something that would be worthy to be curbed in a legal, regulated market?
You know, that is a valid point. It would be curbed in a legal, regulated market. That is one huge advantage. But I do think that sometimes you got to look at, and just my opinion on it is you got to look at what is the greater peril for society. Who kills more people a year, cocaine or drug cartels? Do you know what I mean? And I know drug cartels are extremely violent, but I think that drugs themselves are more dangerous than the active cartels. And the cartels are horrible. I mean, they're worse than ISIS in some cases. But it's a tough question because the more addicts that are around, the more people that are going to be overdosing. And it's not like if cocaine is legal or heroin is legal, people are going to do it responsibly and not suffer the medical effects from it. Do you know what I mean? If legalizing it meant there would be no addiction to it I'd be all for it. Cause again, it's not a morals thing for me.
Well, to that point, as I mentioned, back when you could get it from the Sears Roebuck catalog and it was a legal product, our addiction rate was around 2%, but we had no crime and no cartels. And now today our addiction rate is still around 2%. We've got all that other bullshit attached to it.
Well, don't forget, 2% now is a lot more than 2% then. And I guarantee
That's true.
And I guarantee you the 2% now behave a lot differently than the 2% then. But again, I'm not going to debate you on it because I respect your feelings on it. I don't think you're an idiot for thinking that way. It's just I don't see it that way.
Well,
right?
I am an idiot, but I appreciate it.
Oh, cut it out, you silly goose. I'll see you later, buddy.
All right, thanks.
All right. Hey, we have some advice. Raul in New Mexico has advice for the guy with the 7-year-old. Yeah, tell me what you think, Raul, and then I'll chime in.
Right on. Hey, Jim, how's it going? Well, I'm a stepfather, and he said he works with kids, man, and he may not be into this girl as much as he thinks he is, If he was already at the point where he's living with this girl and her kid, then he needs to not necessarily step in and be this kid's father, but he needs to assume some fatherly responsibilities,
Yeah, but how much of that is like, maybe like you say, he's not as into her. I don't know, man. The kid probably hates him because he's not his dad. And he said he's tried to get the kid to do sports and shit, but the kid doesn't want it.
I missed that, to be honest with you, because I was going to suggest sports.
Oh, yeah, he did say that. He said he did, and the kid wouldn't want it. And I'm going to let you go, Raul, because Gary in California has conflicting advice. So I think he's dealt with this. I appreciate your call, okay?
Cool, man. Take care, Jim.
All right, buddy. See you later. Gary in California. Now, you think what's yours? What do you want to say about this?
Oh, hey, Jim. How you doing?
Gary, I haven't been worse and I haven't been better. I'm just here.
Good deal, yeah. Well, 7 years ago when I met my wife, her daughter was 3 at the time, and her daddy, he tries to play Father of the Year once or twice a year by going out and buying this and buying that, and I tried the discipline route and everything, and it caused a lot of waves between me and my wife, because a mother's protection over a child is going to trump everything,
Sure.
And our daughter, like I said, so she's 11 now, and I've just kind of had to learn to pick my battles, and let her do her thing, and what was between her mom and her, it had to go that route, because when I tried to step in and discipline and act like her dad, these kids are nowadays, that was the first thing out of her mouth was, "You're not my dad," So it's a sketchy catch-22 situation with kids like that. But you just kind of got to let her do her thing, whatever she's into. Let the kid be into it. Try to get into those things with him. Share some other things that you're into, and maybe the kid will come along. But a whole lot of it is the comment that you made. Hopefully he'll grow out of it. And that's what I found to be true with her, my daughter, as I call her my daughter now, because, I'm 50 years old and I don't have any kids. Her and her older brother are my kids, Oh. And they have grown out a lot of that stuff, So it'll get better, but you can't try to step in and play daddy, but you do have to show some authority.
All right. Well, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate you calling.
I appreciate you, bud.
All right. John in Pittsburgh. Hey, John.
Going on, Jim?
How you doing?
Hanging in there, dude. It's 8 years since we lost George Carlin, man. What's the best way to remember the old dead fuck Georgie?
It's funny. I would say go back and listen to some of his old stuff. Maybe buy some of his stuff on iTunes, because that money probably goes to his family. I still get I have mixed feelings about Carlin's death. Like, I get very sad that he's dead, and I miss him being alive, as Mark Maron once said about Patrice. But it's also mixed with gratitude that I got to do Tough Crowd with him, and I got to have him on the radio and talk to him, and I made him laugh on Tough Crowd. It was not, again, maybe he was just being polite, but I still got to interact with a guy that I really worshipped. So, that's what I would suggest. Just go back and listen to some of his old shit, or like, You Are All Diseased is one of my favorites, and buy something of his on iTunes to show his family some support.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And maybe that guy trying to whip that kid into shape might want to do what my stepdad did for me, which was just come downstairs stoned and hand me a George Carlin album.
You know what's funny too? Here's a way to honor George Carlin, and this is for all of us. If you really love a guy like Carlin or a guy like Pryor, like you really like these guys, think to yourself, am I doing anything that really fucks with somebody else's free expression? Like, am I in any way, even subtly, and I don't mean being a dick to somebody, I mean, am I a part of a group that is trying to silence somebody else from saying what I don't like? And then maybe examine that. That's a great way to honor guys like that.
I love it, Jim. Thanks a lot for the call, brother. I appreciate it, man.
All right, cool. Thank you for the tragic, sad reminder. You know, it's funny. I remember where I was when I found out. I was in Jonathan's house in L.A., and I was with the girl I was dating at the time. And I remember I heard that Carlin died, and I just went into the bathroom and cried. It was so miserable. Especially being in Jonathan's bathroom. You never want to be crying when your manager takes dumps. Okay, let's see. How about Brian in Connecticut?
Hey, Jim.
Hi, Brian.
I just wanted to ask you because you just seem to be working all the time.
I thought you were calling to insult me.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm a musician, and I go out on the road. I'll go out on the road for 6 weeks, come back for a few days, and go out for another 2 weeks, and come back for a few days, that kind of thing. And I just wanted to know, maybe it's different with comedy or whatever, but it just seems, I just get worn down kind of doing the same thing a lot, and I just didn't know if you ever, took a break from doing, just comedy, doing that kind of thing, if there's a way that you relax, or if you take a sabbatical for a while. I don't really know what you do.
It's funny.
Just feeling beat.
Yeah, I get that way too, and I don't like taking breaks because I love doing it, and B, I'm scared of missing something, and for me, I'm so afraid of everything being taken away. And then there's a part of me that's like, what I do for a living is really easy. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to perform and you got to travel and all this shit. But compared to what other people do for a living, and I'm not just saying this to sound humble, it's an easy job, compared to fucking a cop. Well, there was a fire. I was looking out my window the other day and there was a fire on the roof. It was on Father's Day of a building 3 buildings over. And it wasn't I'm sure for me it was oh my God, it's the towering inferno, and for a true firefighter, you probably piss on it and it was finished. It was out in 6 minutes. But that's a guy who's climbing up a ladder and then standing there and within arm's reach of flames and throwing water on them. That's a fucking brutal job that you need a vacation from. Yapping with you fuckers on the radio, talking to Opie, fucking with Mark Normand and the guests, silly Ian Halpern. I mean, I got to talk to Dominic Cruz today. It was just fun. Oh, and the guests, I got a tweet so I can mention the guests. We had CM Punk called in and The Rock. We have for tomorrow's podcast. They both called in, but The Rock tweeted it, so I guess it's okay for me to say it. And they were both really, really great. And, so listen to those calls, tomorrow on the UFC podcast, which comes out very, very early tomorrow morning. We had them both on for a while. They were really great. So no, I don't think of taking sabbatical just because my job is really easy. All right?
Okay.
Thank you, buddy. Take care. Once in a while I think of, oh my God, the traveling or the things of it that I don't like that are annoying. But, it's just the penalty is I might lose everything, so I don't do it. Sean in New Jersey. Hello, Sean.
Hey, Jim, you beautiful boy, you.
Oh, come on. You're correct.
Quick question. Okay, so I'm 3 weeks sober, and I'm supplementing the urge and the anxiety at night with a herbal relief, which is it's a kava kava, it's called. Is that something that is frowned upon in, let's say, a 12-step program?
I don't know what that is. My experience with 12-step programs, they kind of, they don't think that you should be doing anything that's mind or mood altering, unless it's one of those things that's legitimately prescribed by a doctor and your motives for taking it are totally because the doctor said to take it. So I wouldn't suggest doing that stuff. Again, I don't think the group as a whole would tell you can't, because they don't do that in 12-step groups, so you don't tell people you can't do anything. But I wouldn't suggest it. I think it's herbal or organic. What do you mean herbal or organic?
It's herbal. It's a root. It's a kava kava root. People actually use it to get off of benzos and.
You know what? I don't know enough about it, to be honest. I've not dealt with it, so I can't speak from experience. But I would say just deal with it and maybe go into a. If you're afraid you're going to go through the DTs, go into a detox. But just try to come off it clean, man. Give yourself some time with nothing.
in addition, I think Kirk Cinnamon would like some of those filters on Snapchat. Maybe the little puppy dog or something.
I like. You know, it's so funny you say that because I was doing the cat one and the dog, and they were going like, "Oh my God, Kirk, what are you, a dog?" We laughed about it, and I said, "Well, tell me about your dog," and they did. And I like to scratch a dog's belly. I could talk for hours about dogs. Happy you mentioned it.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, buddy, be good. Let's see. How about Tyler in San Francisco? Sandy Franny, how are you?
Jimmy, it's an honor. You are by far my favorite Canadian, and catch your Cubs whenever you come out. So,
thank you.
Kind of still on the topic of drinking and addiction. I recently broke up with my girlfriend of a year. She broke up with me because of my problem with her drinking, which I find fascinating. My background. My dad is 35 years sober. I have my issues with drugs and alcohol, years ago. Dated a girl who relapsed a few times, been to AA meetings in support of others, so I'm pretty versed in the whole recovery process and the addiction process.
Okay.
And my question is where is the line of, do I have a problem with her drinking too much, or is it her drinking too much? At 42 years old, she'd go out with her friends and have a little too much weekly, a couple glasses of wine every night, and that was just kind of what I saw.
Well, you probably can tell. We don't always know, but, look, if her drinking makes you uncomfortable, you can mention it to her. But you can't make somebody stop. So you have to realize, okay, now am I willing to tolerate this if she doesn't stop, or is this a deal breaker for me? So, if you think she has a problem and she just thinks you have a problem, you can't worry about what she thinks, because of course an alcoholic is going to defend their drinking. I don't know any social drinkers whose family or people close to them has had a problem with their drinking. It's almost always people who have a problem with liquor, people around them have a problem with them drinking. So you're probably correct.
When 90% of our arguments had in some part to do with alcohol, and I drink occasionally at best, and there was a complete refusal to tone down or stop the drinking at all, and that's where I think that there's a problem, because it wasn't even taken into consideration where it's causing problems in your life, but you refuse to try to remove it to solve those problems.
Yeah, well, so, you vocalized it, so you may have to make a decision that if she doesn't try stopping and she's not willing to, and it bothers you that much, don't be a codependent slob and just deal with it. You might have to walk if she won't stop. And if that's the way it's going to be and you're not willing to deal with that, then she has to know that you're going to leave.
Understood. Jimmy, you are the best, as always.
Oh, I'm just a sweet boy. Thank you very much. Kevin in South Carolina. Hello, Kevin.
I was just kind of wondering if you might be able to help me with something. It's one of the first comedians that I ever saw, and I can't remember if I ever knew who he was. Do you remember the unknown comic?
I sure do.
Okay.
His name is Jim Norton.
Never worn a bag over your head unless you were having sex.
No, I've never worn one there either, believe me.
But do you remember the unknown comic?
I do.
Okay, whatever happened to him, and how long was, I remember seeing him, I think, on the Tonight Show or something when I was a kid.
I don't know. You could probably Wikipedia that. I really don't know what his real name was and what happened to him. I guess he still works. I know he performed for a long time. I'm not even sure if he's alive, because it was such a gimmick, a guy with a bag on his head. But, I remember him being funny. I don't remember his material, but I remember enjoying him as a kid. And it was a brilliant idea, just to be the unknown comic. So, no, you'll have to Google that one, buddy. I have no answer. I call back next week and let me know, because I don't remember.
All right, I'll have to look him up. Appreciate it, man. Bye.
Goodbye. Chris in Texas. Hi, Chris. About your breakup.
First off, honor and a privilege to be talking to such a powerful and attractive man such as yourself.
Oh, God. It's funny. I was going to suggest you say that. Thank you for saying it.
Not anything for you, Jimmy. Okay. Coming out of a bizarre relationship, bizarre breakup. First off, she's trans. I was 30. She was 19 when we met. This was about a year and a half ago. Very intense relationship. We moved in December, and I caught her cyber cheating a couple of times. And that's one of the things that led to the breakup. We patched it up several times. I moved out of the apartment, would move back in and out from Fort Worth to Waco. Long story short, I mean, she knew my family. I mean, I brought her home for holidays, the whole bit. We were engaged. Unfortunately, she smoked a lot of pot, which turned her into an angry individual, not the laid-back person.
So what happened? You guys broke up?
Yeah, we broke up, so it basically wound up, and I couldn't take it. It wound up in a suicide attempt on my part.
Now, what could you take, the breakup or the fact that she was going to find somebody else?
The fact that I just had it all planned out. You know, she was my future. She was my one. All those things, despite the age difference, there was a level of maturity there. But then as we started to live together, her age really started to show itself.
Absolutely. Sure, man. That's a huge difference.
So, and then the fact that she's trans, my family still doesn't know, but it caused a lot of stuff with my friends, and then the suicide attempt just made things worse.
Well, fuck your friends. Fuck them. If it caused anything with them because you date someone trans, then fuck your friends. You know, it's funny, man. Bobby Kelly sat down with me recently. He's such a good guy. Bob's a curmudgeonly motherfucker, but he's a good dude. And he goes, dude, you know, man, you just got to be yourself. And, you know, dude, you know, whoever you date, we love you. You know, he was just letting me know that if I was holding back. So any of your friends that don't have that attitude should go fuck themselves. So that should never affect you. You know what I'm saying? Family's a little harder, but your friends should accept you for whoever you date as long as that person is, you know, legal.
Well, and eventually it got to that point where, you know, there'd be the pretty harsh joke every now and then, but they became, you know, very, very accepting.
Sure. Good.
But the problem I'm having now is, you know, just the moving on part, and it's...
How long has it been?
I couldn't hear you. What was that?
How long has it been?
It's officially been like 3.5 weeks, and she texted me out of the blue last night. Like, I won't hear from her. Then she texted me last night saying hello.
Let me ask you a question. Sorry to interrupt you. Were you a sugar daddy for her?
You know, in the beginning, I very much was.
Okay. So you were paying the bills. Was she a sex worker when you met her or no?
Oh, absolutely not. She's never done any kind of...
I'm only asking because she's that much younger. And you're saying that you were... So you were kind of paying the bills and taking care of her a little bit. So she probably relied on you a certain way. You know, so maybe she's calling now because she misses that part of it, or maybe she misses you. But her being trans has nothing to do with any of this, by the way. Maybe that makes, you know, certain hormone things cause mood swings, but that has nothing to do with anything you're feeling. You've just broken up with someone you were dating. Gay people, straight people, people who like trans people, who are, whatever it is you are. You know, a breakup is a breakup, dude. It stinks.
Well, it does. The thing that I don't understand is that, like, last night, she sends me this message, hey, hello, and said, hey, and I've basically crawled on hands and knees for 2 months begging her back. She wanted me to keep paying the rent in this apartment I don't live in, but said I couldn't live in it, but we could date on the weekends. I've caught her I've caught her texting other guys, and there's pictures and things. But anyway, last night she just texted me to say, I was going to lash out at you, but I decided not to. And the only thing that I could do was just respond, say, hey, I'll always love you. I'll be a big cheerleader. But there's this part of me that, I don't know, it's like everyone's so happy that it's over, which is really kind of fucking me up.
Who's happy that it's over?
Oh, friends, family, everyone is so happy that it's over. They're tap dancing, but I'm not.
Maybe they're happy for two reasons. A, they objected to the trans thing and they think it's just a weird fetish you have. Maybe they don't understand that's who you are, who you want to date. But B, if this girl was using you in a way, like even if she was your girlfriend, you were kind of paying the rent. She wants to say, hey, you can pay but not live here and I'll date you on the weekends. Fuck her, dude. Fuck her. They're right to be annoyed at that. And then she's texting other guys. Okay, she's young and that's normal. Cool. Then she should move on. You should absolutely not pay her fucking rent. No. Don't settle for weekend dating. You don't want to grovel. You know what I mean? Because that turns a woman off more than anything. Oh my God, I'll always be here for you. You know, you ever see in Platoon when the guy is screaming and Sergeant Barnes just goes, take the pain, take the pain. Sometimes in a relationship, you got to do that. Okay? You'll find another girl. Trans girl, girl, whatever the fuck you want, you'll find. But she's young. And sometimes we have to realize that even when a hot chick or someone we are crazy about leaves us, dude, I'm an average looking dude. Sometimes I didn't belong there to begin with. Like if I'm fucking a girl who a 9.5 guy should be fucking, like a really handsome guy with washboard abs, but I'm hitting it for a while, then I can't be mad when she moves on. She's 19. She should be dating probably younger people in a perfect world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that, and people are like, well, you should block her number, or...
No, that's easier said than done.
Often. Yeah, I mean, but I still don't have the heart. There's just this part of me that's like, well, maybe she'll wise up a few months from now, or a year from now, or something, or am I just throwing myself, from the frying pan back into the fire? I mean, either way, I'm a miserable son of a bitch. What's a good way to move on? I mean, I'm
give it time. Give it time and maybe start dating a little bit, going out to dinner with girls, but don't look to replace her immediately and don't look immediately to fall in love. Dude, just realize this is going to hurt for a while. That's a part of it. Like I've said this a lot in the advice show. A massage therapist said that to me. As long as you realize every relationship you get in is going to end painfully, whether it's because you leave or they die, every single one you get hurt at the end. All you got to do is accept that going in, and then when it happens, you realize it's just a part of it. There's a beginning, middle, and end to every relationship. Do you know what I'm saying? So just realize that. This is the end of it. It's okay. You'll find someone else.
All right. I appreciate it, Jimmy. Thank you so much.
Take care, buddy. Let's see here. I'm going to prison. Hi, Dave and Long Island. Sorry to make you wait.
Jimmy, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
All right, long story short is basically I'm a goldfish and I'm getting thrown into a shark tank. Next week I'm getting sentenced to 1 to 3 years upstate in prison for an assault charge. I beat up a guy at work to within an inch of his life. He date raped and he roofied and date raped my sister.
Oh, wow.
And after interrogating her and making sure that I was doing the right thing, and I believed it to be true and it happened. And my biggest concern is, I was identified. I thought of everything. I jumped this guy at work. I was wearing a mask and everything. But he identified me by my voice and I have a couple specific military tattoos.
Okay.
And that's how I got caught and convicted. But, I'm still, long story short, I'm a goldfish going into a shark tank. And my lawyers prepare me. She's like, listen, dude, you're going to get sentenced to 1 to 3 years. You're going to do 2 years upstate. I'm from Long Island. I mean, this isn't like doing a month in Riverhead Jail, in Punk City, Riverhead Jail. This is 2 years upstate in Clinton or, one of those nasty places.
Well, let me ask you a question. Were you in the military?
Yes.
So you were in the military and a guy hurt your sister and you almost beat him to death. I wouldn't call yourself a goldfish.
To beat him to death is an exaggeration.
But you beat him up.
Yeah, I fucked him up pretty good, yeah.
I think people in jail, if they know what you're in for, hey, a guy fucked with your sister and you attacked him and hurt him, will at least respect what you're in there for. Again, that's just from what I know about jail. I've obviously never been.
I know, I know nothing about it. Like I said, I'm a goldfish in a shark tank.
I know you said that. From what I understand, if keeping to yourself and not trying to be a tough guy, that's the advice I've heard from guys who have done time. Is, people have to understand that you're not going to take shit. You will fight, but they also say, don't try to be a tough guy and it's just not going to work. You know what I mean? Because those are guys who won't back down. You know what I mean? How everybody's looking to get out of a fight, but in jail, I think most of those guys are not looking for a way to get out of the fight. So, I would say just be yourself, man, and keep to yourself. That's the best advice I've heard. But again, I've obviously never been there. So I would just say be yourself, man. You seem like a good guy. Don't, just don't start fights with people on the lunch line.
No. And also, how do I go with 2 years without listening to, O&J, the Cumia Show, not drinking?
Well, that's the beauty of us.
All that stuff.
That's the beauty of us. Nothing changes in our shitty lives. It'll be the exact same when you get out.
That's probably what I need to hear. Thanks a lot, Norton.
All right. Good luck, man. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see here. Jay in Texas. Hi, Jay.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. What's going on?
Wait, hold on. Holy shit. Come speak. Okay, there you are. Hey, Jim, I got a question, right? Here lately, like, getting a lot more girls than usual, which is weird for me. I've always been kind of a heavy-set guy, going to the gym and that. But, dude, there's this weird thing where I get really turned on when we're first in that first makeout phase. And, I got, like, a really good chub going in that. But then, like, I usually will go down on the girl or undress her and stuff like that. And then when she's done, I feel like I'm not as turned on, and it takes a while to get my chub going again. Is that like a weird thing? And am I weird if I say, hey, could you like do some, like take care of me now and get me excited? I just don't know if that's a weird thing or not.
Wait, you lose your turn on while you're taking her clothes off?
Wait, not really while I'm taking her clothes off. Like, you get undressed and you kiss on things and all that. But like, let's say I'm going down on her and stuff like that. I think it's hot and it's amazing, but also like for some reason I lose the erection then. It's I lose it then a lot.
I lose it then a lot. I mean, because you're concentrating on something else. Maybe you need direct stimulation. No, it's not weird to ask for what you want. I get that way once in a while. It's like I feel embarrassed or ashamed. But the reality is you went down on her. Sometimes you're losing focus because you're paying attention to doing that. So no, man, there's nothing wrong with asking her to go down on you and help you get hard.
Thanks, man. And I listening to you and Norman, it was like back this like last month or something, and he was talking about it's hard whenever he cares about the girl to like get the erection or whatever, but then if he doesn't care, it's awesome, and so that helped me out quite a bit too. But I just didn't know, it's either
a lot of times there's no, what it is, there's no risk if you don't care about a girl. When you care about a girl, all of a sudden the way she feels about the sex matters, and that adds pressure and makes us have a performance anxiety.
All right, cool. And of course, whenever you have that, then you're trying to get hard, and you're like, oh shit, and then it gets even
your
harder.
Dick knows what to do. Don't boss it around. Your dick will work.
All right, good. Hey,
be good,
thanks,
buddy.
Jimmy. I love you, dog.
Take care. I think that guy's gay. All right, Todd in Texas. Hi, Todd.
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Hey, I had a little advice for the guy who's fixing to go to prison for about 3 years. I was a correction officer for a very long time.
Okay.
And he ended up being a warden. So, in prison, the roles in society are much different. If you're a white guy, you're the minority. Everything's based on race. Everything's based on race. So what he's going to have to do is be a complete asshole as soon as he gets there. And associate, he's probably going to have to end up associating with probably an Aryan Brotherhood type gang. If he doesn't, he's going to have to pay protection or do sexual favors, possibly depending on the prison that he's going to.
See, I've heard that if you just mind your business and don't fuck with anybody, a lot of people leave you alone.
It depends on the prison. If he's going to a maximum security, New York may be a little bit different than Texas. But if he goes to a medium to maximum, if he's older, if he's like 30 years old, 35 years old and older, that will benefit him. But if he's under 30, also, if he's doing 1 to 3 years, he may want to just accept doing 3 years because he may have to whoop somebody's ass and get rid of his good time and do 3 years flat to get out.
So, now a guy like me, let's be honest, I'm not much to look at in real life, but in jail I'm quite a dish. I'm 47 years old, but I do have a plump little hiney. What would be my way to avoid getting beaten up?
Well, it depends on your charge. It depends on what you're in for. It also depends on the prison. Every prison is a little bit different. In Texas, if you're in a maximum security prison, or New York, I'm going to guess maximum securities are a little bit different. If you're in a maximum security, you're going to have to associate with your own kind. The older you are, the more so that you're going to have to. I'll give you a good story. I was a kid. He was 18 years old. He was doing a 30-year sentence for, I think, arson and murder. He was completely unassociated. He went through about 2 weeks of sexual abuse, and then one day in front of a chow hall, he killed 2 black guys with a shank while on video. He went to AdSeg for about 6 months. I saw him later, and he was tattooed from his neck to his feet with swastikas and Aryan Brotherhood, and nobody ever fucked with him again.
Yeah, but he had to kill 2 guys. That's a big difference from this guy.
That guy was doing 60 years. This guy is doing 3. So the odds of him having to put his hands on somebody and getting inmate disciplinary where they take some good time and take a commissary is highly likely. But if he's only doing 3 years max, it's going to be worth the shit that you have to go through to get out in a year and a half. Because once you say yes and once you give in, you will always say yes and you will always give in.
See, I would just throw some karate kicks. That's what I would do.
It's better than sucking a pecker.
Fuck yeah. All right. Thanks for the call, Todd. William, before we go, we got to wrap up in a minute, but William has advice for the guy who wanted to take the herbal stuff. Hi, William.
Hey, Mr. Jimmy Norton. Love the new podcast, man. It was pretty damn good.
Thank you very much. Yeah, tune in tomorrow, man. We had really good calls today, so thank you for listening.
Hell yeah. But also, guys from Texas are full of shit. I've been here for about 5 years, and they're all full of shit. Don't listen to that guy about the corrections officer. But I was really calling about the guy with the kava. Man, I've had an opioid abuse problem for probably 10, 15 years now. And I did the kava, and there's also some stuff called kratom. And basically it gets you a little high, and it kind of takes away the itch, I guess. But if you're an addict like me, of course, you're going to do a little more, you're going to do a little more, you're going to do it for a long time. And then all of a sudden you're going to end up in the hospital because you're poisoning your liver, and it's actually tearing your body down. It attacks your kidneys, your liver. I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks because of kava, so that guy may want to stay away from it.
Okay. That's good advice, man. Thank you very much. I gotta wrap up, guys. I have to go. First of all, we're out of time. I'm heading down to Washington, D.C. So again, the new UFC podcast comes out tomorrow morning, and you can hear me with young Opie on Monday morning. And I thank all of you guys for tuning in and for listening and for calling in. I apologize for the phone calls that are still full on the phone line. So I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to The Jim Norton Show. Hear all that advice whenever you want to on demand at SiriusXM.com/on-demand. On SiriusXM is real.